Okay, let's go through how to build a basic choropleth map using Power BI. And once again, this is really good for just making basic maps for policymakers. You're not going to find all the features with the layers that you would in ArcGIS or some more advanced options in R. But if you just want to get a theme across what things look like and get some of that interactivity, this is really beneficial. So over here, we can look at our data set, and there's a couple things we'll want to focus on. This data set has a lot of variables. I had to go through and look through our data dictionary, but location's a big thing. We've got our different counties, we've got names on them, and then the variable we're going to be interested in is going to be RPL theme underscore theme 2. And that has to do with our household characteristics. So we can actually go on in. Oh man, there are so many variables in here with some fairly similar names. RPL theme 2, and this is actually ranked from 0 to 1, so it's percentile rank, higher is worse, looking at things like percentile percentage of civilian non-institutionalized population with a disability estimate, percentage of single-parent households. So once again, things that have been determined to be lead to more social vulnerability. But the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to start by a text box. And we are going to put a title on here. We always want to title our data. So social vulnerability index. And we want to go ahead and get this. So this is actually going to be, I think, 20 variables is where this comes from. And the other thing we can do is I'm going to go ahead and make another text box. So that kind of tells us a little bit about what our data set is. And let's just talk a little bit about where we got it from. So over here, I'm going to move this on over. And down here, social vulnerability index data. In this particular case, I think we can safely say CDC. Oh man, I got to remember how to pronounce this. Social vulnerability index, that comes from CDC, and ATSDR. And we downloaded August 2023. Always document where your data comes from. Okay, now we can go on in and do a little bit more work with this. So I'm going to go ahead and just build a basic table. And we can go ahead and get some fields on in here, and we just drag things on in. So in this particular case, I want location. Where's my location? I can drag that on over. It should pop on up. And then what I'm going to do is we wanted to look at the RPL theme 2. Notice these are sorted alphabetically. So that can be a little advantageous. So we just put that in as another column. And in this particular case, since there's one per county, works okay. Maybe we want to look at that, descending. So Gadsden County has the highest vulnerability, then Gilchrist, DeSoto. Let's see if there's any counties that have low vulnerability. Alachua, Wakulla. I cannot pronounce these counties. Leon, Liberty County. So that's one way we can do that. And if we want to just look at all these themes, we can actually put all of those right on in there. Even though it says some because there's only one value in there, that's perfectly fine. So we've got theme 3, theme 4, and theme 5. And it really is that easy. Let me go ahead and make sure we've got that. And yeah, we'll just drag it on over. And there's our different, our different things. The total sum ends up being slightly different just because of, rounding sort of things. But yeah, so kind of interesting. You can see that this one's very vulnerable in theme 2, vulnerable in theme 3, but not as vulnerable in theme 1. Let's map this. I always like to map things, so we can drag that down a little bit. I'm going to make a nice big map. So our map visual is going to be, it's a filled map. Our location is going to be location. Drag that on in here. And we're actually going to put in for tooltips. Let's grab that RPL theme 2. That's the one I want to look at. It's going to sum that. Well, right now it doesn't seem to be doing very much. Well, we have to go through and actually change our background. And so we go on in. Let's go ahead and do our fill colors. We'll use a formula here. And first location, no. We want to base this on, actually I want it to be a gradient. And we want to look at RPL theme 2. And blue. You know, traditionally people go with red for kind of higher. Let's just go with kind of this purple color. We'll try that, see how that looks. And you can see we have a nice map. You can see there's low vulnerability down here in the Florida Keys. You can actually mouse over, which is kind of nice. A little higher vulnerability, Miami-Dade, Broward, kind of this central area. Lower around Tallahassee. And one thing that's kind of nice about Power BI is it makes these auto titles. You can go through to your general, change that title if you want something a little more descriptive on it. But yeah, it is really, really easy to make theme maps. And one of the things that's kind of nice, this data set doesn't support it as well as some of the other data sets, but just if you have things, like you can do something where, let's just go ahead and make a basic drop down. So for drop downs, make sure we're clicked on in here. We'll grab a slicer and we'll grab something like location. We'll put that in the slicer. Has all these counties. I always like to make drop downs on my slicers because they take a little less room. So we'll do a nice drop down. And that way, if you're a policymaker and you want to just look at like a Bay County, you can click on that, zoom on in, get your information for just Bay County. Palm Beach. Which one is Palm Beach in? Palm Beach is in, was there a couple years ago for a CST conference. Right there. There's our map of Palm Beach. And once again, this is the sort of thing that policymakers really, really like, where you don't just have a map, but you can go and focus on your specific area. And you include more than one area. So we've got Palm and Pasco and Pinellas, and it kind of zooms out the map. Looks like we're getting a little bit of that, kind of South Florida area on there, but really, really easy to get started with Power BI. That's one of the things that I really like about Power Query and Power BI is once you get comfortable with things, it's very, very easy to just put together kind of a basic dashboard design, put together tables, and you start to choose common elements. You've got your your title up in the corner and your location, you've got your documentation down in the corner. You've got your slicers. I like to put those in a certain corner. I like to have kind of a common layout for each thing that I build. Makes it very, very, very handy.